Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very proud and honored to have our first guest today. For the past 50 years, this gentleman has been the music director and producer of the three-time Grammy Award-winning Sounds of Blackness. They've traveled all over the world, bringing a message and making the kind of music that both lifts people up and brings them together. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gary Hines. Gary, whew, you get emotional when you say Sounds of Blackness. Welcome to The Actor's Choice, sir. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Brother Ron. On behalf of Sounds of Blackness, we appreciate it so much.
Indeed. Indeed. First of all, I wish to sincerely thank you and the Sounds of Blackness from the bottom of my heart for all the marvelous gifts that y'all have gave us. And we thank you, sir. We thank you. We thank you very, very much.
Bless you,
I understand,
brother.
You were born in Yonkers, New York.
Proud son of native son of Yonkers, New York. Absolutely.
Oh,
Grew up between Yonkers and Harlem, and I know you're a native of Harlem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I used to go up to Yonkers. I think I went there twice for the Yonkers Marathon, so I've been there a couple of times and seen it. Yeah, indeed. You graduated, let me see if I get this right, McAllister College, is that true?
That is correct, sir.
Did I say it right?
The birthplace of Sounds of Blackness. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary, but yeah, we were born in college right here in the Twin Cities.
Like you say, started right there at that college. The name, tell us how you got that name.
I'm glad you asked, because actually in 1969, our emeritus founder, Russell Knighton, founded a group. He was a student there and called it the McAllister College Black Voices. In 1971, when he was getting ready to graduate, he brought me on as director. And the vision that God gave me for this group was to follow the pattern, and I'm glad you mentioned Small's Paradise, the pattern of Duke Ellington. Now, that surprises a lot of people when I say that, but I know that we hear Duke's name and we think of jazz, as we should, but Duke wrote, recorded, and performed spirituals, blues, world beat music, every sound of blackness. And so that template was already laid, and we're following in the footsteps of the great Duke Ellington.
Wow, 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 wow. Now, you graduated from McAllister in what, 1974?
1974, yes, sir.
Wow. So you were right there when it started. Woo, woo, gives me goosebumps when you say that. How many persons, and Tony, can you put this picture up on the Sound Black? There you go. The Sounds of Blackness. How many people are in that organization, or that group?
Well, currently we have a grand total of 20 singers and 10-piece orchestra in the tradition of Ellington, one more time. But over the years, Brother Ron, it goes into the hundreds now that we're in our 50th year. And the interesting thing, this currently is now Sounds of Blackness, really second generation, because many of my current singers are actually offspring of some of the original members.
Wow. What's it like for you putting together a group like this of such caliber? How do you do that?
First and foremost, only by the grace of God. I ain't got a whole lot of sense, but I got enough to know that. By the grace of God, and then, Brother Ron, the dedication of amazing singers and musicians. A lot of times our band doesn't get the focus that it should, so I got to give them that love as well. They're completely dedicated, not only to the Sounds of Blackness as a group, but really we're about being a cultural speaking voice for Black America. That's why we do songs like when Brother George Floyd was killed, we did Sick and Tired last year, and that's why this year, the Juneteenth theme, Time for Reparations, we were like, you know what, that needs an anthem for today. So we're serious about that, and they're committed to that as well.
Okay. I read somewhere, here's what they say about you, sir. They said that you are part preacher, part teacher, part psychologist, part father, part coach, part activist, part historian, part musical master, and part drill sergeant. Is that true, sir?
I suppose there's some truth in each of those elements, those components, my brother. And I think, you know, the role kind of commands and demands that, and with the ensemble. But you know what? They are so dedicated and so wonderful singers and band that they make my job easy.
Wow. Wow. All I got to say, you guys play a lot of music. Let's see, you got pop, hip hop, rhythm and blues, jazz, Latin, rock, blues, reggae, ragtime, classical, gospel. I mean, you all are out there.
Every sound of blackness, my brother. We, you know, we're often mislabeled as a gospel group, and that's not offensive. It's just incomplete. We couldn't call ourselves Sounds of Blackness if we only did R&B or if we only did jazz, because we as a people, as you know, have been blessed to evolve a whole litany of music, jazz, blues, gospel, the genres that you just so eloquently elaborated on. So we are, as a cultural speaking voice of our people, a musical instrument of our legacy. We embrace all of what God has blessed us with. You can't understand the testimony of our people without all of those components. I tell the church folks sometimes who get upset that we do sacred and secular music, that you can't appreciate the glory, hallelujah, of the gospel without the pain of the blues and the history of the spirituals. It's all part of our legacy, all part of our testimony, and it's all sounds of blackness.
Amen, my brother. Amen. 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 Now, we were talking about this off camera. When you put the words together, S-O-B, can you tell us about that? Some people might think.
You know, we know that that's an acronym that's less than flattering. We'll put it that way. But there's a funny story with that too, because we hadn't thought in those terms. And rest his soul, the late great Luther Vandross had us another native New Yorker. And he had Sounds of Blackness on tour with him 30 years ago this year. And it was our first major road tour. And so all of our cases and equipment cases, guess what they had on them? S-O-B. And that was one of the running jokes of the Luther Vandross tour with Sinbad and Lisa Fisher.
People in their minds, where your mind's at? Take it out the garbage.
Right, exactly.
Get it out there. Cut that out. Gary, you've worked with some very well-known artists. I'm going to drop some names here, if you would. Q. Quincy Jones.
Yes, the modern day Duke Ellington.
My gosh. My dear, I used to work for this guy. His name is Stephen Morris Judkins Hardaway, also known as Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, yes, sir. Fellow Taurus brother.
Aretha Franklin and another guy, I call him Elton John.
Yes, yes. The queen, undisputed queen of soul, rest her soul.
Amen. Amen. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yes, my brothers from another mother who we've known since the 70s, after our family, the Hines family, moved to Minneapolis from Yonkers when that was in the 60s. But our families go back before the world knew about Jam and Lewis. And so that's the reason that we were the first one signed to Perspective Records. Shout out to Jam and Lewis and to the late, great Prince, our dear brother as well.
You learned a lot from working with those guys and ladies, right?
Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it. Production, recording techniques, about the industry, the music industry. But you know the interesting thing, Brother Ron, when Jam and Lewis signed Sounds of Blackness, the first thing they said to me was, Doc, and that's always been a nickname for me, Doc, you know what? Don't change a thing. We want to present you to the world just the way you are. And I know, being an industry veteran, that usually the industry tells you the exact opposite, that they want to change you and mold you into the, whatever the current flavor of the month is. But Jam and Lewis said, don't go changing anything. We want to present you to the world just as Sounds of Blackness.
Wow. Is getting notoriety for your organization a problem at any time?
You know what? It can be, surprisingly. It's certainly overwhelmingly more of a blessing than anything. But also, we are a nonprofit corporation, so we're serious about being more than just a band and really being invested in our community and being an institution, a cultural institution. So we are a 501c3, and many times I've found out after the fact that we have not received grants that we were otherwise eligible for because of our celebrity. People are like, wait a minute, I just saw them on the Tonight Show and they just won another Grammy. It's like, they don't need any money. It's like, nothing could be further from the truth. So I'm glad you said that, because anyone who is so inclined can go to our website, soundsofblackness.org, and donate to us. And we will be in touch with you. And thank you for that.
Can you repeat that again, the address, please?
Yes, soundsofblackness.org. And the first thing you see is a donation page. Again, we are a 501c3.
All right, what do people say to you when you come off the stage and they see after you perform? What do they say to you?
You know what, my brother, the greatest things that have been said. In fact, I have a note on my kitchen table from a young Caucasian lady when we came off the stage in London some years ago, and she handed me a note, and it said, "When my mother died, optimistic saved my life." So you know what? The Grammys and all that are great. We're thankful for them. We'd be less than honest if we didn't say that. But really, that nothing gets, it's like the beer commercial. It doesn't get any better than that.
Exactly. And when I told my daughter, one of my daughters, that you would be our guest today, she said, "Tell him I loved optimistic and hold on, change is coming."
Oh, God bless. Please give her my love and from the group. And optimistic, of course, our banner, along with Hold On, Change is Coming. And optimistic, Brother Ron, was the final song that we recorded on our first record with Jam & Lewis, Evolution of Gospel. And while we were writing it and getting ready to bring the group in, I'll never forget, Jam & Lewis said, it was the last song, and they said, we've got a great album here, Doc, but we feel like we need one more song that will be universal, everybody can relate to, that will be a classic and stand the test of time. And lo and behold, 30 years fast forward, Common and Brandy and Robert Glasper have redone it, and Chance the Rapper did the Optimistic Challenge with Black Fathers and Sons. Kamala Harris was grooving to it during her campaign, as did Barack and Michelle. And so the classic element, by the grace of God, has come to fruition.
Excellent. We got just a few more minutes left. What's your latest project, sir?
We are proud to announce a couple of things. First of all, we just released a few weeks ago a new single called To the Sky, and it's with our beloved Jamesia Bennett, who's the daughter of the great Ann Nesby. Remember, I talked about Second Generation. And Sounds of Blackness are featured on that record, To the Sky. You can see the wonderful video on YouTube, and it's available for purchase and all that kind of thing. Also, right now, Time for Reparations. We have submitted for NAACP Image Award consideration in several categories, and so that you can see all about that on our website, soundsofblackness.org, and we're encouraging any NAACP and all members to consider and vote for Time for Reparations, not only just on the professional side, but on the cultural side. We really want to establish Time for Reparations as a current day anthem for the movement.
Before we get out of here, you understand the Sounds of Blackness gave a performance at George Floyd Square in Minneapolis. Can you talk about, we got a picture of them rehearsing. Can you tell us about that?
I sure can, Brother Ron. We were so honored to be aligned with the Floyd family. In fact, Brother Big George, as we call him, actually even worked out at the same gym as I did, even though we weren't that close, but we were aware of each other. And so all those connections were there. He did security work for Jamesia, who I just mentioned. So a lot of connections there. And on the 1-year anniversary of his lynching, and that's surely what it was, we were blessed, along with our dear brother from Chicago, Brother Common, to do a tribute concert, a commemoration concert for the family of George Floyd. And of course, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I almost forgot to say, Sounds of Blackness is donating a portion of proceeds from Sick and Tired, which was dedicated to him, and from Time for Reparations, our current one that's up for Image Award. We're donating a portion of the proceeds to the George Floyd Scholarship Foundation.
Speaking of Sounds of Blackness, Time for Reparations, roll it, Tony.
It's time. It's time. It's time. I know it's time. The generation of reparation. Pay up, time to pay up. Reparation. Right now, reparations. Finally, I should know it's you. Pay up, time to pay up. Right now.
Brothers, Pay Up. That song gives you goosebumps. My God.
Bless you, brother. Thank you. And a lot of people have asked about the merchandise that we wear, the Sounds of Blackness, and our 50th anniversary, all that.
Yes.
It's available on our website as well, soundsofblackness.org, along with Time for Reparations, the song, the video, and the merchandise are all there for everyone.
Understand the Sounds of Blackness has a First Avenue star?
We do, and it's such an honor, and I'm so glad you mentioned that as well, because along with a long-time friendship and brotherhood with Jam and Lewis, and actually even longer, long-time friendship and brotherhood with the late great Prince. We went to the same junior high school, not at the same time, the same high school, grew up in the same South Side community, and of course, obviously Prince, his imprint on First Avenue, you know, through the movie, through concerts, whatever, is just legendary. And so we are so honored at Sounds of Blackness to have a star at First Avenue.
Gary, one day, maybe one day, you'll have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Bless you, sir. God bless you, and happy holidays to you and Sounds of Blackness. It's been an honor and a pleasure for me to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother. God bless.
This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Ladies and gentlemen, the public is invited to a reading of Levi Lee Simon's Gentrified Metaphor of the Drums. The reading is directed by Justin Lord and is now open through December 21st. It's set in contemporary Harlem, USA, where two people, one male, lifelong African-American resident of Harlem like me, who meets a white female resident of the new Harlem. Now, the reading takes you on a journey to the past, present, and future, filled with drama, comedy, the absurd, and magic. For more information, call 818-761-8838. That's 818-761-8838. Thank you. Roll it, Tony.
Yes. Roll it.
Sound speed.
Scene 4C, take 3. Yes.
Wow, that's a short one, ladies and gentlemen. My next guest today, she's a lady I have known for a few years. In fact, she's my next door neighbor. I have watched this lady over the years work in the acting industry, trying to get it, trying to make it. We have her here today. She's been here once before, here on TAC, a couple of years ago, but something very marvelous has happened to her, and we're going to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yvette Wren.
Hi.
Well, hello, lady. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I can see you had to travel a long way to get here, right? As you go through that door, ladies and gentlemen, she's on the other side of that door, right? Welcome, welcome once again to the Actor's Choice. And first of all, let's get to where you came from before coming here. Came here. Where you from?
I am from what's considered the west side of Chicago, from a little town. Well, not little, but a town called Maywood, Illinois.
Maywood, Illinois. Okay.
Mhm.
I have to look it up. I just want to see, beside you famous people, because you're famous, you came out of there. But other famous people came out of here. Let me read this to you real quick. Dennis Franz, an actor. Eugene Cernan, he was an what do you call it, astronaut.
Mhm, mhm.
Sheila Crump Johnson, co-founder of BET.
Mhm, mhm.
Doc Rivers, former head coach of LA Clippers, now coaching the Philadelphia 76ers.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, one more person. Charles Lindbergh
Yeah,
came from your town.
yeah. And
Wow.
actually Fred Hampton also.
Oh yes, Fred. How could I forget him? Beat me, spank me, make me write a bad check. How could I do that? But Lord have mercy. That's beautiful. You come from some good stock, my dear. My God. So let's go back to where we did that. Hollywood is a great place. I understand you love music so much growing up that led you to Columbia College in Chicago.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I wanted to be like the next female Diddy or like Missy Elliott. I wanted to produce music. And so, yeah, I went to school for producing and recording engineering.
Mhm. Got a bachelor's degree in that subject? Yep.
Mhm, mhm.
As we say in a bit.
Yes.
Yep. Now, in 2008, you wrote a book called Diamonds Are Forever. Yep.
Yes.
Now, this was your first novel, I understand. This was something very special to you.
Yes.
It was something to do with coming out of just growing up. That's basically, is that what it's based on?
Yeah, coming of age story about just growing up in a tough city, with, things stacked against you, and how this girl like beat the odds and, made it out despite her circumstances. So
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. And did it sell? Did you sell because you self-published it? Did you make a lot of sales on it?
I did, and I'm still making sales because I turned
Yes, yes.
it I turned it digital. So now you can buy it on Apple Books, and I brought the price down to like $4. And yeah, I get a check every month.
Get out of here. Didn't even know that. What interesting part of that book did you like the most?
Um, when she made it out, like,
Okay.
she came from a family that wasn't supportive. And so when she made it out, like when her dream started coming true, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Because you had a dream, you always had a dream about getting someplace. Tell us about that dream, because a lot of people look at us and they say, well, I want to be a star. But it takes a lot to be a star, starting with a dream.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, so after the music thing, because I was in studios and didn't really like that whole environment for music a lot.
Okay.
Didn't like the studios, didn't like that whole music industry scene. So always was gifted like with writing. So I'm like, after the book, I'm like, what can I do next?
Right.
And so I said, uh, I've learned about TV writing. I was like, wait a minute, that's like dope. Like, it's quicker than writing a book, like in that the scripts are smaller. And so I just took a leap of faith and moved from Chicago to LA to pursue that dream of writing for television and film. Yeah.
And in 2014, there you are getting quickly established in the TV industry. There you are with the clapboard there that we saw at the front end of this interview.
Yes.
You
And
learned it.
so,
You learned it.
yeah, yeah. And I got on the show. I wrote a freelance episode of Love That Girl. I've worked with Matt Cherry, who won an Oscar for his animated short.
Mhm.
I work with like tons of people in the industry, just, hustling, trying to, get to that, make the needle move basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you wrote that book, Love That Girl, that was your first IMDb as a co-writer of it. That's excellent.
Yes.
Because people need to understand. You hear me talking about IMDb, they say, "Who is that? Who is this IMDb?" It's an organization who actually, if you work, they put your name in there, and that shows other people that you have got experience.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
very, very hard to get into jobs in this town.
Very hard.
Yes.
It's
I tell people, start at Central Casting if you have to. Go there, do what you have to do.
do what you have to do. Yeah.
Right.
It's a balance. It's about hard work
Yes.
and it's about networking. So you got to find that balance to do both.
Yes. Now that year, 2014, you got your first IMDb special thanks for credit for work done in the TV comedy series, The Unwritten Rules. Tell us about that,
Yes.
please.
Oh, that was fun. That was my friend Kim, who she's moved to South Africa, but she had a dope little show about working in cubicle. I call it cubicle world, but working in the office and what
Right.
are those rules about working in the office. So it was a cute little comedy that we had a lot of fun making that.
Okay. What's it like trying to get industry work at any time?
Whew, it's hard. It's very, very hard. It's a lot of bureaucracy, politics to this industry. And so you got to learn how to play the game. Just being yourself, being authentic, helps open some doors. I say never be thirsty, network across if you can. Don't try to always shoot for the big names like, the Avas and the Shonda Rhimes. Like, who are your network of friends? So, try to network across because somebody will eventually make it. So, and then they'll bring you up with them, So that's the best way to meet, to just network across.
Given what you just said, I'd have to ask the question, why do you do it?
I love writing. I love telling stories. I love pulling emotions out of people. That's why I went to music first, because I love like how music makes you feel. And so this is just like an extension of that. Like I love like again making people laugh and pulling that emotion out of people.
Excellent, excellent. Yvette, moving right along, in 2015, you got a staff writer job for the TV series Almost 30, another IMDb credit.
Mhm.
There you go. Picking them up, putting them down. Tell us about that one, please.
So that was working with Matthew Cherry, who eventually won the Oscar for his animated series. And that was, we were all around the same age. And it was like, how do you feel when what is life like when you about to turn 30 and you haven't, fulfilled your dreams? Like you're
Yes.
not where you're supposed to be. And so it was a comedy about a group of people who were almost 30 and just weren't where they wanted to be,
Gotcha.
doing odd jobs, industry. They were trying to get into the industry. So it was, so yeah, it was a comedy. We had fun. And then, it aired just on digital. And I think you can still find it on Matt's YouTube page.
You know your stuff. Go ahead. Go ahead. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice getting your hands on a new and different job? Isn't it nice?
Yeah. Always, always. Yes.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the year 2020, last year, when you, Yvette Wren, got your first break here in Hollywood as an actress. Tell us about that, please.
So that was, again, through networking. A friend of mine reached out and asked, did I want to be in a short that they were filming? Of course, like Shonda Rhimes, the year yes. I'm like, yes, I'll I'll do it. So yeah, I played an auntie in a little short film. We shot right up in View Park, and so yeah, it was again fun and experience. But yeah, got my first acting credit.
Because when I look at IMDb, it has your name in there. It says actress. I'm like, go ahead, girl, with your bad self. Go ahead. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Again, the name of that is Destiny's Road.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. What was, tell us a little bit about that story, that particular one.
That was about a girl who was kind of like almost 30, a person graduating from college and high school actually. What was she gonna do next? What was her next step? What was her journey? So basically, yeah, what road was Destiny on? Because she couldn't figure it out at the time.
Okay, I'm gonna do this in just a moment. Ready? Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now an actress, lady. What roles are you looking for? Please tell us.
I love comedy. I love making people laugh. Comedy. Making people laugh. So that would be great. Mm-hmm.
That means that you're going to be going to a lot of screenings and getting around, meeting a lot of people, learning things as you go. Woo, you ever thought about being a director down the line? I know it's a little right now, but down the line.
Oh yes, yep.
Yes.
All around filmmaker. Yep.
Yes. You ever ran into Iona Morris?
No, not yet.
Yeah, a nice lady. She has got over 100 IMDb credits, but she's been doing some writing, which you've done. She's been doing some directing now. There's a lot of, she's going to be on the show here in a couple of weeks, but it's out there. It's out there.
It is. It is.
My
and you just got to take that leap of faith.
Leap of faith. Got two more films, two pictures for you. Here, let's show this one, Tony. Here you are on vacation. Where are you at in this picture?
I went to Paris right before the corona hit us.
Next time you go to Paris, I'm your neighbor. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I give good luggage, okay? I will carry your luggage to that place.
Oh, man. That was a fun trip.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Maybe you're something else. Got one more picture. Can you show that one, Tony? Here you are with, who's that lady? Who's that pretty lady?
That's Lisa Ray.
Oh, yeah. Hanging out.
Yes.
Hanging out. That's what it's all about, hanging out. Anything else you want to say while we got you on the air, lady?
That's it. If you got a dream, I say go for it. It's not going to be easy, but, don't give up. Network across, be authentic, be yourself, and, eventually it'll happen.
Outstanding. Well, please don't wait 2 more years before we get you back again. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, my neighbor, my good friend, Yvette Wren, actress. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Brother Tony.
Poinsettia Park is one of the three most primary foundational realities of my artistic life.
Poinsettia Park is the point of departure for the talent that was here in Los Angeles.
Poinsettia Park means to me that we had an opportunity as African American brothers to come together during the 70s and work with each other, try to support each other and build each other up. And during that time, by the way, there was talk to make a movie about our experience here.
My next guest today has his mind on a documentary project that has been on the stove for several years. It's called Poinsettia, an LA documentary. You just saw a short clip of what I'm talking about. A few months ago, we had this gentleman's father come and tell us about the project. I was not aware of it. A lot of people were not aware of it. Thank him for coming. Tell your dad, as he knows how I feel about him. Thank him very, very much for doing that. Rick Nelson, of course. But right now, to tell us a little bit about this project, where it's going at right now, what's he doing in it, please welcome award-winning photographer and videographer, Derrick Jones Nelson. Welcome, Derrick.
Thank you, Ron.
My pleasure having you here in the Actor's Choice. It's been a long, long project, has it not?
It has. There's been a lot of, first and foremost, thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Excited to be here. And it's been coming up on 2 years in January in the making of, well, the story in itself is like 40 years in the making, but just us putting work on this project and gathering all the pieces and putting all of the production elements together for this has been close to 2 years in the making. And so it's an exciting project. It's a moment to, build a project together that is more of a legacy project for my father. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm excited to keep working on this and keep the ball running. And yeah, it's a good project.
Outstanding. How many people total in the project itself that have been working?
Yeah, so we've got our production team. We've got about 6 people total that's been helping in the production team. Myself has been leading more of the producer side recently, but whenever we went to LA and filmed, it was more of like very bootstrapped. So had 2 or 3 friends come out with me. I was in Arizona. I'm based out of Arizona, so when we went out for the project, 3 of my friends came out from Arizona. And my father, as well, has been producing it. My brother's been helping with a lot of the writing of it. And then another one of my father's friends has been helping with producing it. So, yeah, there's been a lot of hands on it. There's been a lot of, different directions that we thought about taking it. And it's just such a vast story because it's really talking about this park poinsettia that was like a centerpiece for all these community members, all of these C-list, B-list, A-list actors, entertainers to come together and to, get their mind off of the day-to-day of life that it can be, the stresses of life and the craziness that we have to deal with. And, come play sports, come bond, come connect, and, really build some community within the LA area. And so this project is definitely been a long time in the making, and we're excited to be. We're working with the writer right now on it to really nail down the specifics of the story. And so I think that that's another thing with documentaries is I don't think we sometimes even talk about the process that it takes to get these done. So we just see it done and we're like, okay, this is magically done, but there's just so many elements behind the scenes that goes within it. And I'm learning a ton along the way. I know my dad is, and I know my brother and everyone else that's on this project is. And yeah, we're excited to get this really wrapped up and, put into some festivals and put into some eyes to get the ball moving with this. And so, yeah, it's a fun project so far. It's been great.
Being on that red carpet as you come into Hollywood, I will be there. I would love that.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
I ain't got to sit in the front. Just put me in the back someplace.
Oh no, you right front. Right front and center.
Indeed. Derrick, tell us first of all, where were you born at, sir?
Yes, sir. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. Small, actually, village called Hillsdale, Missouri, is where myself and my brother and my where I was born. And a lot of humble beginnings. Grew up in impoverished neighborhood, and where resources were limited. But as a kid, you don't really recognize that at the time, because you're establishing friendships and trying to understand what's going on around you. So yeah, I was born in St. Louis, and spent 27 years in St. Louis, and then ended up moving. I'm actually moved to Arizona back in 2015, and I've been just kind of making my way from there. Took on photography right after post college. So I went to college at Missouri State University, and I just had always had a liking to concert photography specifically, and music has been a strong kind of part of like my life. And so that was my initial interest, and from there it just went from there to doing other things that have to do with like portrait photography and fashion and anything I can really get my hands on to learn. I think with any photography, when they're first starting, it's just about learning. It's just about seeing what you like, seeing what you enjoy, and then grabbing hold to it, and hopefully something sticks. And so, yeah.
Right? Because your dad and family had a lot to help you with the cameras when you first got started. What do we call it? Creative inspiration? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, creative inspiration.
Yes.
So when I was young, we would all our family would come together for holiday get-togethers, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the whole nine. And my dad, he always would bring this like JVC camera with the VHS in it to all the gatherings, and he would just film. He just filmed everything. He filmed, all the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, everyone. And at the time, it wasn't as much, as accepted, I would say, as far as just video goes, like people, wanting to be filmed. And so everyone was just like scared of the camera most of the time. And eventually, like, people would get comfortable and start sharing it. And when we look back at the videos, everyone would be super excited that my dad filmed it, because you're capturing rare moments that we think back on, but it's nothing like being able to look back on those moments. So, he was, at the time when I was young, he would throw the camera in my hand, and I just run around and just point it at people's faces. He'd like push that red button, and I'm just filming whatever I film. And so I think that moment definitely was a moment where, whether I realized it or not, was like a really inspiring moment for me to, say, hey, I can buy a camera, and I can, use, what I learned, that whether it's a small amount from when I was a kid to, maybe carve a career or carve just, a path through this. So that's kind of what happened. And I just kind of kept with it up until now.
You have an organization called Brain Fitted. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So Brain Fitted, it's a media company that, our focus initially was doing a lot more of like music videos, and doing a lot more of like creative videos in our community, doing local like business videos and things like that. And with that came opportunities to do a lot more corporate work on the West Coast. And I think transitioning to Arizona, and my partner, whenever we first started, was based out of Seattle. A lot of opportunity just came from just putting ourselves out there, putting our brand out there, putting our business out there. And we've been able to do a lot of great video production work, great media work for some really like forward, thinking innovative companies. And it's just definitely blessed us to be able to open ourselves up to opportunities that we may not have had if we didn't come out west, and where it's taken a lot more serious out on the West Coast versus the Midwest. And so that's that's Brain Fitted. Brain Fitted is we're a media house, and that's what we focus on.
Winning awards too as we go.
What was that?
You guys have been winning awards as you go.
Yeah, we've won. There's been a few awards. We had an award. We partnered with the creative agency in Arizona, and we won an award for a It was actually it was an award for a completely kind of different concept, but we hiked this in the Grand Canyon. There's this place called Havasupai Falls, and we filmed some content and took some really cool content in that area, and we compiled that content and submitted it with the agency in Arizona. We ended up winning an award for that campaign, where it was just photos and content of like hiking through more lifestyle, more like creative lifestyle type of content in this like area of the Grand Canyon. And so yeah, that's been an award. We won an award for that project and some other small things. And yeah, we just got to keep we keeping the ball rolling on things like that. So
looking good. Okay, back to Pansonia Park. Could you show us that? Put that one up there for me, Tony. Look at that. There's that sign. Okay. We got another. Let's take another look at the video that shows you what's going on at Pansonia Park.
Tennis to basketball to dominoes, it didn't make any difference what you were playing. You were playing with somebody that you really knew and you cared about, and that's what made it fun.
There was no big me, little you concept there. So you had a refuge. And if you got out of place there, all heads would turn towards you.
Poinsettia Park is in terms of a cultural institution, for lack of another term, was major in Black Hollywood in the 70s.
Super work there by your father. Tony, can you show that picture of Rick Nelson, please? There that handsome young man is. Hey, Dad, how you doing? Good to see you.
Pops.
Oh, yeah. You call him Pops. Okay, I can dig it.
Yeah.
He got out in there. Again, this is just, and briefly, can you tell people what the whole idea of this project is all about, please?
Absolutely. So this project is really about community. It's really about showcasing how it's important to stay connected in community, and it's important to tell the stories of communities, because there's a lot of community stories that are lost and that are can be swept under the rug. And this story, we believe, is something that is sitting on that has been sat on, and is slowly being uncovered and slowly being brought to life. And so yeah, Poinsettia represents that, like, even 40 years later, there's important stories to tell within the community. And so Poinsettia is really, with the documentary, Poinsettia is really like the center point of it all, and everything else kind of spiders out and stems from Poinsettia. And that's ultimately the goal with the project, is we want to tell these stories within that.
Right, because I understand back in the day, this is a place where people who are celebrities could go. They could drop that at the door and have fun. They get together. People like Marvin Gaye, athletes like Jim Brown, actors like John Witherspoon. Remember Old Spoon?
Yeah.
We miss him a lot. History of the park speaks for itself. How do this is where you go back and revisit the history. People talk about it. That's the beautiful work you guys are doing, and you're doing it. I can't wait until you finish this particular project. Now, your dad told me, and you mentioned it earlier, that you guys came out here to California in January of 2020, but you had to cancel it because of what, COVID-19?
Yes, sir. So, COVID, it definitely shifted and changed a lot of plans, and I think everyone was affected by it in so many different ways. And when we came out, it was a couple months before there was a lot of lockdowns and restrictions that happened. And so, our idea was to come out in January, and we did. We came out, filmed around 25 interviews, like you said. Some people like Ted Lane, who was on the Love Boat, and John Weatherspoon's brother, Ron, and his widow as well, Mrs. Weatherspoon, and just a lot of key people in the 70s that were part of the park in Hollywood. We were able to come out and film a lot of those peoples, and our next steps were to, hey, we're gonna plan another phase and go out to come back out to LA and film maybe some interviews we didn't get, but then the pandemic hit, and so that put a halt to future productions that we wanted to do, and it kind of put us in a position to where it's like, okay, how can we use what we have currently to develop what we want to do with this story. And I think that now, like, we've definitely come to a point to where we know what pieces we have and what we need as far as like the writer goes, and we've definitely come to terms with the direction that we're going with this project. And I think the pandemic it just forced us to shift our thoughts and shift our kind of focus on where we needed to focus on with this project.
How many documentaries have you done before?
So this documentary is officially the first documentary, but I can talk about a project that that I myself and my partner at the time we did with Airbnb, and this was an internal project, and so this wasn't something we could share that was like outward facing. It was all internal within the company. But they actually, we worked on a project to where we flew out to Peru to tell the story of natives of the land, of like Peruvian land, and also like tell stories within the culture of the land. And if you know Airbnb is known for their stays, like you're able to rent the Airbnb and stay locally in the city. But at this instance, it was focused on the experiences. And so we were able to film hosts that were in Peru, specifically Cusco, Peru was the city we were in.
Yes.
And we were able to film these food experiences where we had hosts talk us through like the Peruvian culture, some of their delicacies as food, talked about the land of the food. We did an experience where two hosts took us out to a remote indigenous territory where we were, in this like literally in the mountains, filming this indigenous community and watching people knit by hand and watching people, walk hills to go to other sides of the community, and really a different type of lifestyle of like actually being like tapped into the land and not being tapped in what we're accustomed to, which is like the technology and the things of that nature, but a different form of a life, like more of an indigenous form. And so we were able to film and tell some really cool stories about the indigenous culture. And really, I think the fun thing about it, and one thing I enjoyed the most about it, is that we were just able to engulf ourselves into something we had no idea of what it was, and we learned a ton, and we just opened ourselves up to that culture. And I think with any documentary project, any project where you're telling stories that are outside of yourself, like we've got two of these for a reason, and we've got to use those a lot more than speaking. So that was what that was, and we were able to film some incredible content from that.
Hey, 10 years, you're gonna be bad on bad. Ooh, you're picking up a lot of experience as you go. Wonderful. That's where these great filmmakers come from. You go out, you do this project, you try this, you try that, you'll learn as you go. We got one more cut on that poinsettia video. Would you please roll that, Tony?
There are a lot of happy memories at Poinsettia Park, and John would be thrilled to be remembered as one of the alumni.
The Poinsettia alumni. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Derrick, I want to thank you very much for coming today, and keep in touch as we get closer to the finish of this documentary project. I want us to be there and see a whole lot of people. I'm going to tell a lot of people about it. And hey, go see this, because a lot of work went into it. It goes to let you see what people do, and you'll be able to record and tell a story with a camera. I love that.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. Thank you to Actors Choice. I really appreciate the time. It was fun talking today.
My pleasure. Happy holidays to you and the family, for sure.
You too. Happy holidays.
Okay. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman Photography as an Art, Ron Irwin's Lose Life, The Way to Lose Weight, Larry Buford's book, To the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School and Actor Space. And much thanks to our guest today, music director, producer Gary Hines, writer, actress Yvette Wren, and photographer, videographer Derrick Jones Nelson. And of course, special thanks to our ever-growing audience. Be well. We'll see you next time.